So hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome. My name is Rory Canavan. I'm the owner and founder of SAM Charter. I'm here today to give you a presentation on Process of the Month, the return of, which looks to serialize some of the processes that have been featured in version 2 of the new SAM Charter Process Kit. So just before we get underway, I'd just like to give you a run through on what we can expect. So we have primary and secondary objectives, which always helps, is good process practice, and we'll delve a bit deeper onto the given process there. We're going to offer a quick process run through, potential banana skins associated with the supported software catalog process, a doffing of caps to our sponsors, and then we're going to quickly review which process is going to be coming up next month. So as I mentioned there previously, it's always useful to have a primary and secondary objective, or you could have multiples thereof. So your primary objectives could run to 2 or 3 or 4, and the same with your secondary objectives. If you don't have those scoped out from the outset, what you tend to find is that the Good Ideas Club appears, and all of a sudden, wouldn't it be great if the process made my coffee in the mornings? It's great if it could, but really that's not the goal of the process. So you limit what your process is actually expected to achieve by defining primary and secondary objectives. So for the supported software catalog process, the primary objective in this instance is to annually review and categorize the software titles in the supported software catalog. And we have a secondary objective here to support the review of requests for software titles that are not currently in the supported software catalog. So I just want to tackle that secondary point first. If, for example, somebody has made a software request, the way the processes have been currently modeled in the process kit is that the software request process will compare a title against the supported software catalog. If that title does not exist, then it will have to go through a test procedure, and this is the symbol for that process here. If it meets a technical assessment, which is okay, then we can actually, if you like, have a human or a managerial assessment of that software title, and that takes place here. How often this process runs, I guess, depends on the size and scale of your IT department as well. It could be that you've got many thousands of software titles. It's not going to be realistic to sort of sit down and expect to review them all in an afternoon. So accordingly, you could be dividing this work up between multiple individuals or indeed multiple vendors or even dedicated vendors, one at a time. So long as the work gets done, that's the most important thing. So you'll see here at 1.10 we have a series of personnel actually involved in this activity. SAM manager, obviously, but also the service desk manager. And I've put other interested parties here at this time. It could be that you've got product champions or product managers. It could be an end user group who are particular advocates of a given software title. Anybody and everybody really who has been through a RACI assessment and can add value is worth roping into this little activity here. We have a supported software catalog here, so we are working on the assumption that a catalog already exists. And we're looking to compare and review those titles in light of a software technology roadmap. If, for example, you've got a title that has 6 months left of vendor support before the title is deemed, shall we say, end of life, that could influence what assessment you actually give to that title. It could also be that software titles are an absolute nightmare to support, and so incident management reports actually play a great part in assessing whether a title should be reviewed as red, amber or green. And also through the life cycle of the software as well, reviewing the change management reports as well. How easy was it to upgrade or downgrade this software? How easy is it to move around the IT estate? Is the challenge or the support required onerous, or is it very light touch? So as it's been modeled here, what we have are three categories that we can actually assign to our software titles. It could well be that you have more. So if you have more, then model those channels more accordingly. But for the purposes of this process, we've got software is to be retired, software is to be maintained, and software is to be added. So in going through those steps, we can see that if software is not to be kept, then we can set that status to red. So that means, yeah, we don't want this software anymore, and as a consequence, that title then is earmarked for removal. Now, the physical removal itself is actually taken care of in another process here. We've actually got a software removal process. If software is to be maintained, then we can set that status to amber potentially. So we use amber because it could be that we've got this title and we're happy with how it's performing, but we do actually have a preferred title in place. Those preferred titles then could be given a value of green. All of these statuses are updated, and then we go to a publishing stage. Now, like any database view, what I would recommend is that if you're going to put the supported software catalog in front of end users, wherever possible, make sure they only have visibility of the green software titles. These are the ones that you've decided have the best shelf life, have the best support, have the least amount of woes and leverage placed on the IT support staff, and teams generally are easiest to license, etc. If at a push they have to sort of see amber, then fine, that's your call. But do be aware, the more titles you offer, the more likely you are to have to sort of support these in a service management environment and also in a SAM management environment as well. So potential banana skins with the supported software catalog, that this process is never run, and it could be that you're in an enterprise organization, global officers, you know, an ever-present sort of presence around the world. Size and scale is a major inhibitor in actually getting this process to run and run well. So you do have to be diligent around this, but as I said, the benefits to SAM are huge, because the fewer software titles you have, the fewer contracts you have to find, the fewer pieces of proof of entitlement you have to find, and the knock-on consequences to service management are exactly the same. Another potential banana skin is that this process is not run often enough. It could be that you've run this once and think, great, our estate is as healthy as we've pruned and it's fantastic. But 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 years down the line, you could be back to where you were before you even started. This should be a sort of a regular activity, and in that supported software catalog, I would always have a structure in there to support a column which would say date of last review, so that those that might not have been reviewed in 2, 3, or 4 years, we can actually get to grips with, and we can put those under the microscope and see, are they worth keeping? So at this point, I'd just like to say much love to our sponsors. Thank you very much. These are people who've placed adverts in the SAM Charter process kit. So we have Aspera, Flexera, and Snow, purveyors of quality SAM suites there. We have softwaremanagement.org, ITAM Intelligence, and Medora Consulting. We also have Software Advocates, License School, and Palisade Compliance. And bringing up the rear there, Chris Goff with Derived Logic. So thank you all, guys, for your help and support over the last, it's not just over the last year, but over the last 3 or 4. It's been truly appreciated. If you do wish to dig deeper and have a look at some of the processes that we've actually modeled there, there's the link. Please go to the link. The format or possibility for buying the e-kit is in 3 formats. You've got read-only, and then you've got the sort of process maps which can be editable, subject to purchase. So next month we're actually going to be looking at a software rationalization process, because if you've gone through the supported software catalog process, you might find that if you've taken a vendor by vendor approach, that's great, but that could still end up with you having 6 or 7 different pieces of software that essentially perform the same task. There might be an argument for blending these, but let's take the software rationalization process in its entirety next month there. Contact details. If anything you've seen here has raised any questions or you've got any observations, please feel free to email me at rory.canavan@samcharter.com. If you wish to follow me on Twitter, my symbol there, or my username is @StoryByRory, and I would always welcome your addition on LinkedIn. So thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to seeing you next month.